in beautiful colors, hiding trauma, poverty, and the pain of racism and immigration. Both my parents were young children when their families left everything behind and emigrated to Israel. My father from Iran and my mother from Syria. Both grew up with 6 siblings in poor neighborhoods and struggled not only with poverty, but also with the prejudice that came with being from an ethnic group considered inferior in Israel in the 1950s. I knew that my father had 2 sisters who got sick and died when they were toddlers, before he was born, and that as a baby, he was very ill himself and almost did not survive. His father, my grandfather, who was blind from birth, needed my father to go to work with him, to sell newspapers on the street. As a child, I was aware that my father had not gone to school and had worked to support his family since he was 7 years old. He taught me how to work hard, as he longed for me to get an education that he could never afford for himself. Like my father, my mother had also struggled as a baby with life-threatening illness. She had lost her oldest brother when she was 10 years old, an enormous trauma for the whole family. My mother didn't have many childhood memories, and therefore, those are unknown to me. I'm not sure my parents ever realized how similar their histories were, how their bond was silently tied with illness, poverty, early loss, and shame. Like many other families, our family colluded and shared the unspoken understanding that silence was the best way to erase what was unpleasant. The assumption in those days was that what you don't remember won't hurt you. But what if what you don't remember is in fact remembered, in spite of your best efforts? I was their first child, and their traumatic past lived in my body. There were wars where I grew up, and so often we, the kids, felt frightened, not fully aware that we were being raised in the shadow of the Holocaust, and that violence, loss, and endless grief were our national heritage. The Yom Kippur War, by then the 5th war since 1948, broke out when I was only 2 years old. My sister was born on the first day of that war. Like all the other men, my father was called to serve in the army. I was left with a neighbor, while my mother went alone to the hospital to give birth to my sister. The massive attack on Israel took everyone by surprise, and many wounded soldiers were rushed into the hospitals, which then became too crowded for women in labor. The women were moved to the hallways. I don't remember a lot from that war, but as it usually is with childhood experiences, it was all perceived as pretty normal. For years to come, the school had a monthly war drill. We children practiced walking quietly into the shelters, happy that instead of studying, we were playing board games in the shelter, and joking about the missiles that might hit, or the terrorists who'd come with weapons and take us hostage. We were taught that nothing should be too difficult to handle, that danger was a normal part of life, and that all we needed was to be brave and keep a sense of humor. I was never afraid at school. Only at night,